So let's actually talk about all the components that go into the mean stack. As we said before, AngularJS is the A in the mean stack, and it's going to take care of our application's entire front end. It's a client-side MVC framework. So we're going to build out models to communicate to our views, which is the HTML that you're going to see, basically. And we're also going to have separate out our application logic inside controllers. And this is similar to what you might do in the back end as well, only you're doing this strictly in the front end. So you're actually creating really good delineation between your code, and it keeps things very, very clean. AngularJS is open source, although it's maintained by Google. Google has dedicated a lot of really great engineers to work on AngularJS. And the driving force behind Angular is they're saying, what would HTML look like if HTML was designed to be for building web apps instead of for building, documents or hypertext?
I mean, before Angular, most people, I guess, were just using jQuery, right? And really just manipulating the DOM itself. And I guess Angular is really cool because it's kind of written as for the future of HTML in the case where you can just directly put in the HTML what you want to data bind. And data binding really is just the concept of binding your data to your UI so that you don't have to explicitly say, hey, add this div, or add this thing, or change this value like you would do in jQuery. Instead, you just simply change data and magically the UI changes. And actually the vice versa works as well. So it makes it quite nice.
Yeah, and not to get into this too deeply, but Angular actually injects some, or makes available some attributes that you can put directly into your HTML to be able to start changing things around. So when you look at some Angular code, it'll actually look quite a lot like just a really nicely formatted, really responsive HTML document, as opposed to some HTML here, and then a lot of the logic is actually obfuscated in some JavaScript function in another file. So when you're looking at an Angular document, you'll actually be able to see, this is where certain logic goes, and it's really clean. And AngularJS is also really, really easy to test. It's built with test-driven development in mind. We're not going to use too much testing today just for the sake of time, but it comes bundled with what is it called? Protractor.
Yep.
Yeah, it's built or it's bundled with Protractor, and the Angular documentation does a really, really good job of saying how can you build unit tests for everything that you're doing, and how do you do a complete end-to-end test for your entire application. So where can you get Angular? How do you install it? It's really, really easy. You can just go to the AngularJS docs here. Whoops. I am going to click into this link. And you can actually install it straight from the Google CDN, which is what we're going to do. So you can get the minimified files straight from Google just by linking to it like so. And
so this pulls right off of the CDN, so we don't actually have to worry about maybe even like storing the file or serving it out itself, right? It just comes right off of that?
Yeah, exactly. And if you haven't used the CDN before, it's really great because once multiple websites and multiple people are hitting that same link, it'll be cached, and it'll be much quicker for your users to access instead of your users pulling the Angular file down from your server, another side, they're pulling down exactly the same file. So it's just nice to have that be stored.
Some better performance there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
We're going to start out using just the straight Angular library, but later on we're actually going to incorporate some additional modules that aren't included in the basic package, so to speak. We're going to be using some routing and some resources, so we'll be getting to those files as we need them.